Well, first of all, thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for the invite.
I'm Rich.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Appreciate it. Couple things I want to mention before we even get started with anything. And like what we were talking about a couple minutes ago. I don't care what firm you're with, I'm not trying to recruit you. If you wanted to join my team, great, we'd have a conversation, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for education, for information, for conversation. This is something we're talking about because it's a cool topic. We have ideas, want to hear your ideas. But the whole goal here, and since I know most of you guys, I know you appreciate this, is for us to all learn something, for us to all be better, us to have better transactions, just elevating the entire industry. If whatever else comes out of that, hopefully you guys get to know each other a little bit better and you're working deals together too, great. Anything else, fantastic, but our whole goal is, let's make everybody better. So, you hear something, you read something, we're talking about something, you're like, I don't get that, we're gonna talk about it more. If you're like, hey, that's great, I do it this way, we wanna hear about that too. There's no one way to do things, we're just here for that. So, that is it real quick. We're gonna do quick introductions. You guys all know me, because I'm the one standing up here. But that way you guys can know each other too. Matt starts off.
Yeah, Matt Maynard, I'm with EXP.
Hey, good morning. I'm Jeff Trower, also with, well, not with, I used to be with XP, but at LPT now. Sorry.
Forgot where you were.
Yeah, for a moment, you look at XP. I was thinking, like, what if I know? Familiar.
My name is Rob Brown. I'm with Century 21, but I have my own team in Century 21.
Sherry Rihanna with the Sherry Rihanna Lightning Team. I'm Holly Moorbeck. I'm with Agent Group Realty, but I was with Century 21 for like 10 years.
Okay.
I just left them all.
Sweet, sweet. And Sherry, thank you for the use of
Yeah.
our awesome space here.
And the coffee.
Which great, and the coffee.
Rob always knows I am good for coffee.
That's right. Yep. If I'm there, there better be coffee.
Good for coffee and a deal getting closed quickly.
Thank you.
So, my quick plug for you, since we're in your office and you didn't ask me to do this, I'm just going to say quite simply that part of our process is at one point, probably multiple points within the conversation, we check in to make sure that everything is going smoothly. Now, the response I always get from Sherry is, is it ever not? And my answer is, no, you're right, it's never not. Like, always done on time, always done right. So, that is my simple plug. If you want things done right and well, and I know you have the same experience.
Yep.
So that is that. That's all I got for that. You're making me nervous.
I'm sorry.
I already feel like I got like shine like you, like hanging on desks and
You look
whatnot,
great. You look
things
great.
like that. So we're going to talk a little bit about AI today. Now, before starting this part, I would also like to point out that I am of the era of the Terminator movies. So when I first start hearing AI, I'm thinking like they're going to take over the world. That's not what we're looking to do here. This is not like, we're going to talk about agents having a lot to do, busy. I hate the word busy, let's be effective. But there's so much to do and there is so much time in our day and that a lot of times it's the follow-up and the marketing that we just don't get to, which is why you end up seeing the ups and the downs and the highs and the lows. And we're not looking to have AI take over the world and do everything for us, just how are we going to make our lives a little bit easier. So very few agents feel like they're totally caught up. It's really more about doing less of the wrong things, more of the right things, and tying all that stuff together. Deb is like, right on. You didn't introduce yourself, though.
I'm Deborah. I do marketing. I will do a little bit for a couple of different people, but I help with Rich. I do work with Sherry, so I dabble a little bit everywhere.
So if you have a question about, like, as we're talking about this stuff and we want to get, like, please feel free to get deeper into stuff.
Yeah.
Deb will jump in because she's a resident expert. I'm just the guy.
She is excellent at what she does.
Yes, yes. So here are our topics for today. We're going to talk about the always relevant agent. We're going to talk about the relocation experience builder, photo and insight maintenance audit, your hyper-local neighborhood intelligence, and virtual staging and design, all ways to use AI. So we're going to start off using AI. Professionals use AI for content, spending 40% less time deciding what to post. I will say I'm good with this. I'm like, oh, I want to post something, and it's like the same old stuff. It's like, hey, closed the house, this is under contract, this is that, this is that. Oh, look, we got the list reports, market insights, and I can put that. And it's like, the same stuff. Don't look all that fancy. So, I think we're going to start out with first is the always relevant agent. Stop searching, start responding. So, a lot of times you're sitting there spending a lot of time just looking for, can I find something different to talk about? What should I post? That type of stuff. Guys will run into the same issue. So what are you doing now? Like, how do you find your content? I'll make you guys answer questions.
I just don't do anything, honestly. I create like a flyer when I have something relevant going on, and that's it, because I'm like, it's very overwhelming to me.
Yeah. Because it's tough to find stuff.
It can be paralyzing, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I'll spend a whole day thinking,
Trying
and then
about
nothing
it,
gets
yeah.
done, right?
Yeah.
I know sometimes within Google searches, you can search for something, like a topic, and then you can scroll down and it'll have, because you search for this, these are other keywords and other things that people have searched for. Then you can kind of dive a little bit into that, and it starts to kind of refine, so you can find a topic. Like if you're looking for first-time home buyers, there may be questions that Google has found that other people have asked that question. So then you can kind of base it upon, those kinds of, questions or things that you're searching for.
How much time do you spend in doing that?
It depends a little bit of time. Yeah, you can spend a little bit of time because you get down that rabbit hole and then you start to, at least an hour, I would say. You try to, and I try to block it. So if I'm figuring out what content I want to use, so I'm trying to do it religiously, trying to schedule it throughout the week. I'm trying to figure out new topics, new things, or what's relevant at that current time.
And how often are you doing that? Blocking
Yeah, I would say probably once or twice a week. I'm trying to sit there and try to see what's new, what's current, what people are trying to search for.
What about you guys?
Not much, that's why I'm here.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, I used to be a lot better with it. Lately, just life has taken over.
You get busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you need to be, proactive and in it. And there's moments that you work with it and then you let it slide for, I'm like, it's 4 months now. I haven't really posted anything relevant. So,
Right.
yeah. So it'd be nice if there was some more of an immediate or a automatic thing, so to speak.
So here's the beauty of the Terminator that's going to take over the world. And that Terminator is ChatGPT. We're just going to talk about that. That's what we used. So you can easily schedule tasks on that and define that market. So what you can do, how we can do it, we'll show you exactly how to do it. Is you can set up I want specific market insights on specific things. So I actually did this exact same thing. You're going to see that you're going to have QR codes for everything, so you can just click on the QR code and get this information. I literally just copy and pasted this in. I would like a morning update. And how I set them up, I would like a weekday morning update and I'm in a different location every day. So I can get an insight on specific things. So today's my Wake Forest day.
Can you just email us the slideshow when you're done?
Yeah.
That'd be easier, I think.
We'll send you all the prompts too,
Yeah.
Cool.
so you can copy and paste them.
Yeah, we got you. We got you. Simply just copy and pasted this. Give me the local real estate news, give me restaurant openings, give me all the information. Simply like that. And I set it at 7 o'clock in the morning, send me a reminder, let me go do this. So I get an email at 7 in the morning and it says, okay, your information is in there. I click on ChatGPT and it gives me all this in a simple digest. So now I'm going through and I'm looking at what's the overall market, what's the community development, what's going on, any new restaurants opening, all of this information from the national level down to super hyper local information. Now you can take this, now what to post, here's some great information. You can turn this into one really cool piece of content, you could turn it into a bunch of different things. So, and it's going to give you your post idea, give you some ideas of different things. It'll even say to you, would you like a reel to choose? How would you like that to go? What am I missing?
No, you're 100% right. It's just one of the fastest ways, and you can tweak this prompt too, by the way. So this is just gonna give you a foundation. So obviously, you tell it, you know, what your preference is. If you wanna change it to every morning at 6 a.m., or you want it 7 days a week, or 5 days a week, you can get as granular and as detailed as you want. If you see something on that 1 to 5 list that might not be on there that you want information on, add it to the list and it'll add it into that. I think one big thing on this is just make sure you have a paid ChatGPT account. That's the biggest thing. And make sure you have the ChatGPT app on your phone. That is how you get notifications. Some people are like, I don't understand how you get notifications when these digests come in. You just gotta have the app on your phone. But quite literally, like religiously, it'll come into your inbox every morning with whatever you specifically gave it to. You will never have to ask it again. It will continue giving you this update based on what you're asking for until you tell it to stop.
Right.
So,
Mine also sends an email reminder.
yeah, okay, perfect,
So I
even
can click on
better.
that too. So my morning process, usually not a whole lot that we need to do at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I usually get up in the morning, work out, and I know I can very easily just jump on my computer and just start doing stuff. So I force myself to go to Panera and go get a cup of coffee and just relax a little bit. That's usually when I'm looking at this. Is I'm just sitting having a cup of coffee and I just pull up my daily update and it's like, oh, okay, well, let me see now. At some levels, it's like, oh, today is Wake Forest Day. Okay, so what's going on up there that might be relevant to a specific client? What information would I like to post? What do we like? So now it's just giving me that intelligence on that. And I'm just doing it as part of my, like, that's when I read the stuff, just because it gets me to the start of the day, move on to the next one, whatever's next. So to me, super easy. All that information is there. At the very least, it's giving you additional intelligence. It's certainly giving you ideas of what to post, how to post. It'll even show you that this is going way beyond my pay grade, where it's like, oh, would you like to do a reel? Would you like to do this? Like, it'll give you different things you can actually do to post.
And I think too, one more point about this is there are so many different AI tools out there. We're just using ChatGPT as an example. Technically, you could use these prompts in Gemini or Grok or whatever AI tool you want, but the biggest thing is just remember that you're talking to like an assistant. So you could be as derogatory, as fun, as serious, as professional, like you give it what you want back. And so just remember, like, have a conversation. If you're not getting what it's giving out, say, I didn't like this. Please update this for all future digests. So you gotta kind of boss it around a little bit.
And you don't have to be nice. I yell at my boss. I grew up in New Jersey. It's just kind of what I do. Right? So on that, questions, thoughts, comments that sound, it sounds easy, but it's not really. What are you guys thinking?
I know that like when you're with ChatGPT, we learned this months ago, is that you for it to really understand like your business, like, you know, you can ask it, give me 20 questions, you answer those 20 questions. It's kind of like you're priming ChatGPT to understand, you know, who you are, what you do, what your niche is, what your market is. Do you have to utilize that? Is there a way to utilize that information so that when it generates all this content, it's like, oh, based in the triangle, you know, with your specific niche or whatever you're looking for? Is there?
Personally, what I would recommend is in your ChatGPT settings, like I would go in and build your settings, which maybe that's a good event for the future, is setting up your ChatGPT. A lot of people just go straight into ChatGPT and start talking, but what people don't realize is it's only going to know what you tell it. And so you can go into your settings and actually say, for every prompt that I ask, please always consider I'm a real estate agent at this company. You know, give it as much information as possible. Say it, you know, you can even go as granular as, I want you to talk to me, or whenever I request something, I always want you to give me what this means for buyers, sellers, and other agents. You know what I mean? So you can get as granular as you want, but you want to kind of build your profile in the settings before you even dive into this. It'll make it a heck of a lot easier. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, in a sense, yeah, that's.
Well, and I'll say too, like, again, coming back from, I don't want this taking over my life, I will tell you the first thing I started using ChatGPT for, and I think this will probably stick with all of you guys. I tend to, like, my initial response is direct. that doesn't always work for everybody. So I take my response and I look at the personality of my client. So sometimes, like, you have the clients who are like, I had one yesterday who was freaking out about countertops, and I will take what I'm going to respond and I put that in, and I'm like, please adjust this to someone with this personality. And that also help it learn me, but also learn what I wanted to accomplish. So it'll take, okay, well, here's my direct, like, just shut up, they look fine, and turned it into, I understand your concern, but and walked it through that. So that was like my dipping my toe into as it started to learn me. So for that information, what it learned, like, I want concise, I want this is what I'm going to do with it. The next piece I'm going to get into, I just want to make sure there's not any other questions.
Thank you.
Anything else on the first one, but when we get into the next part of relocating buyers and how we use it for that, definitely get deeper into, like, my personality and their personality. But any other questions on the first one? Any other thoughts? I see the, which I like. I feel like there are questions there. We got you.
Okay, I don't have any yet.
All right. Cool. All right. Second part, we'll talk about relocating buyers. So, how many of you have had the scenario of somebody coming in to relocate? They have no idea what's going on in the triangle. They have no idea. Like, they've been told it's a cool place. Maybe it's the people that are moving from the north. They moved down to Florida. They worked their way back here because Florida was too hot. And one of the things I'll say to you is like, yeah, you know what? We don't know the area. Maybe we'll rent for a year, and then we'll go back and we learn the area. So I have found, and I'm going to give you examples of two of my clients, and we'll go into kind of a little bit more detail as to how we use it for this. Client number one, moving from New Jersey. They have their idea of what North Carolina is like. Side note on this, the first time I met them in downtown Cary. They're used to New Jersey. They saw all the Christmas trees out and all the decorations, and of course I don't live far from here, so I knew people. They were convinced that I had hired actors to walk around to make the town look cool, and that I had put up all the Christmas trees. Like, they're like, they knew nothing.
Where do you find the time?
Right? Exactly. Just decorating those trees takes a long time. Yeah, I'm like, no, like, I appreciate you, but one piece of business is not that important to me that I'm hiring all these people. But yeah, they had no idea what they were getting into. And I had talked to them, and I was like, well, you know, what are you looking for? You know, and they really weren't following the process. So now here we are a year and a half later, they still haven't bought anything, and all they keep telling me is like, should have listened to you back then. And here now the prices have gotten more expensive. Now we have client number two, moving from New Mexico. Sit down with them, like, we're doing a call first before they come out, and they were like, we really don't know a whole lot about North Carolina. They had some very specific needs, so like, we want good schools for our kids. You know, it happens to be two wives, so they're like, we want to be in a place that's accepting to us. Like, and there's a lot of stuff, obviously, we can't necessarily address through fair housing, but they have very specific needs. So what we did is we said, all right, you're coming out to visit, let's put together an itinerary for you. Let's take what's important to you, not just the what size house do you want and all that kind of stuff, but like, what's it like, what type of, like, do you want more of a downtown feel? Do you want more of a country feel? Do you want this? Do you want that? We put all that information in, and we had it spit out the hour by hour experience of like, here's where you're gonna go. So one of the things we also do is our process, we have a relationship with some hotels right here in Cary. So we can take them from the minute they walk in the door to the minute they leave for the weekend. And we're saying, okay, well, you know, talk to these guys, they're gonna get you set up in a hotel, you're all set. Now it's like, okay, well, let's start out and say, so you put in all of the information, what's important to them. And it would spit out and say, okay, day one, you're gonna start out over here, go get breakfast over at this place, come have a cup of coffee, go check out downtown Cary Park, look around here, drive around a little bit, come in, put out a full itinerary of everything that we can do for them. Very little of it, by the way, was looking at houses. Because I feel like most of these guys are coming out and like, well, just show me, I want to see a couple houses in Cary, I want to see a couple houses in Fuquay, I want to see a couple, like, they're not even at that point yet. And so we're running around showing houses for the sake of showing houses that they have no intention of buying. So they started out with, we want to see 10 houses. It turned out we looked at 2, and they saw new construction up in Zebulon, of all places. And while their initial plan was to come out to get an idea of the neighborhood, they were under contract by the time they left. So now we just took what would have probably been a 6-month process for them and turned it into just a couple of days, simply by just mapping out a plan for them so they really got a true feel for what they were looking for. And with information like drive-by zones or Wake County Public School System, like we can point them in the direction of things like additional research for that. Absolutely love this. To me, and I think probably many of you have heard me say this, drives me nuts when you come in and you're talking to somebody on a Monday morning and you're like, how was your weekend? The agent's like, man, I was showing 25 houses this weekend. And my question is why? Like, to just do something without a purpose, I think has you busy but not effective. So I love this stuff because it fits right into our process of how to make things effective. Thoughts? Super easy.
I will mention this one thing. So you'll see in step 1, these are the absolute bare minimum questions that we would recommend making sure you get answered. If you have a client that's potentially relocating, try to get those questions answered, even if you just like in a paragraph, there's no organization or prettiness to it, just type in the answers to it and copy and paste those answers with the remaining steps. So get the answers, then copy and paste the remainder of the prompt. And then obviously you can go even deeper depending on the situation and the client and the preferences. If they're only have 1 day to spend with you, you could edit this prompt to say, I only need 1 day worth of itinerary planning, and they're gonna be starting with me at 10 a.m. and they're gonna be done at 6 p.m. Or I think in your case, it was what, multiple days?
Yeah.
So he used a multiple day itinerary, and where did you guys end up going? Coffee shops and a couple different places?
The beauty of it is that, like, to make our time more effective, they went to coffee shops and they went to breakfast, and then I met them after that, rather than me, like, with client number 1, they were like, drive us around. And, like, okay, but it was such a waste of time because I wasn't really providing a whole lot of value other than being a chauffeur. And even to me, and I don't know how you guys do things, but even when I'm showing clients houses, I generally don't like them in the car with me because I find that if I'm around, they want to make me feel good. Like, oh, you showed me this house, so they want to like it. I want them to go and have their time to do their own thing. So that way, if we're going from like house to house or one place to the next, I want them to be like, okay, now that you guys have talked about it, yeah, we like this, we didn't like that. So it's not that I don't want to spend the time with them, I just think it's more effective to give them that time to themselves. So yeah, so we gave them ideas of like, hey, go to Fountain Coffee, go here, go here. And they were checking this stuff out, so they already had an idea of like, okay, we like Cary, now we want to see a house there. Versus, yeah, you know what, we drove through Apex, it's a little bit too small, that downtown's a little too small for me, it's probably not the spot. So taking that part of it, we also will do a full questionnaire with them. I find that people get very locked into square footage, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms. I get it, but square footage, as you guys all know, gives you a like how's the house lit? You can have a 3,500 square foot house that has a bunch of hallways and tiny rooms, or they're like, I need X number of bedrooms. Well, what are you using it for? Well, I work from home. So one less bedroom but a home office would be okay. Like I have a listing just under contract where it's like there's one room that technically could be a bedroom, but I tell people it's not. It's really a home office. It just happens to have a closet window in it. So it helps to get a better idea of what are they looking for and what makes the most sense. So tying all that information in, you may say, well, in this budget, you're not going to find what you're looking for in Cary, but everybody told you Cary was cool. But you know, it helps to narrow things down a lot more for them.
And if your clients feel like you are noticing and you're paying attention to the little details, like being able to plug this into AI and the AI can determine, oh, they don't like coffee, we're not gonna recommend coffee shops. Oh, they got kids, oh, we're not gonna send them to bars, you know what I mean? So tailoring it and customizing it, that's what I feel like the more and more AI gets even more advanced than it already is, that is what the shift is gonna happen. They're going to be expecting this kind of custom, make it as easy as possible experience for them. I think even the mortgage industry, people want it to be as fast, as smooth, as consistent as possible, and it's the same thing with the experience they have when they come into town.
I would say, like, my job is to help them buy or sell. My job is not to help them shop. Like, I want to make the shopping experience that much easier to make the buying experience that much more effective. Any questions there? Any thoughts? Easy enough.
That was pretty cool. I like that.
It was, it's so easy.
Yeah.
I struggled with it for a long time. It sounds cool now, but I struggled with that for a long time before we figured that part out. All right, let's talk about unexpected repair issues and how that ends up being a big issue for us when it comes to selling houses. So we'll talk about the photo to insight maintenance audit. Now, I'm going to say first and foremost, I love my home inspector. We're not talking about replacing the home inspection. One piece I'm going to talk about here is the value of the pre-listing inspection on particular houses. So instead of going in and trying to figure out how old the system is and trying to have like very vague conversations on, well, you know, this may come up on certain like HVAC, water heaters, things like that. So quite simply, take pictures of the HVAC, the water heater, electric panel, things you see in the house, and put the information in. It's going to help you to better identify the make and model, better identify the year of things, estimate useful life. Now, to me, I'm going to use the example like this, that you may look at an HVAC system and it may be getting close to what we would figure is going to become an issue and useful life. And looking at the picture, it's all rusted, all this, like, okay, to me, it helps have that conversation with my listing client. We might want to do a pre-inspection so that we're dealing with things beforehand. At the very least, we might want to get our stuff serviced. So that way I can put that service information in the documents and I can mention that to people so when they look at it and go, oh, this is a 2013 HVAC system. I want to set my listing apart from somebody else. I want to be able to say, yeah, but they've been maintaining it every 6 months. They haven't come out. The guy was just here. He just did that. Anything that I can do, and this will help a lot in what do we have in the house? How cool is it? What's good about it? The more we can talk about that stuff, the better off we are. So as you can see, it's kind of giving you information on all of the different, like, make and model, approximate age range, estimated useful life, so you have an idea of things like that. I also will tell people when it comes on the listing side, when you have to replace something, I've yet to see a listing that says new and really expensive this. It just says new this or whatever. So yeah, there's going to be an investment in getting the house ready to sell. Or on the other side of that, when I'm talking to my buyer client, to be able to take pictures and things like that while we're going through looking at the house with things, to say, okay, well, here's what your expectation is going to be. This is a great house, a great neighborhood, priced well, but you know, in the next couple of years, you may need to be changing your oven out. Next couple of years, you might need to be doing that. So putting together your maintenance plan on that stuff. A little side note to that, having this information. Also super helpful once they've already bought the house. They're always looking for an excuse to talk to them about something just to stay in front of them. Hey, I was looking back at our notes and saw that, you know, when was the last time you had your microwave? Like, how's that working? You might need a new one soon. And they're like, wow, man, they really remembered me. Like, any little thing like that you can pull out here, I would go in and I would do the same thing. I would put a note in and be like, okay, well, your microwave here, your refrigerator here, put a note in a year from now when you're looking for an excuse to talk to them. To say, reach out to Rob and say, like, hey, how's your refrigerator going? I know we looked at that house. it was getting close, I would also go into AI and be like, hey, are there any sales on refrigerators I want to send over to them? Like we were talking about before, we want to be the guy they call. I want them asking me all of this stuff. So when it comes, exactly. And knowing you guys, I know you're all in that same boat. Like you want to be that resource. Easy way to make you that resource on all of those sides.
And I will add in too, you'll see up at the top where it says I am uploading photos of the following home components. That's just to get you started. Obviously, if there's specific things and specific properties, you can add to that list, remove from that list, etc. I would just always recommend uploading, like for example, if you're taking a photo of an HVAC unit, take a photo further back so you can fully see the unit. It's crazy. The AI will even be able to detect like, oh, there's weeds around it. You should probably trim up the weeds around the, it's silly things like that you may notice initially, but you forget about, so it's documented, so all of those good things. The other thing I will mention is I actually used my own property as a test. And I'm in a rental, and so personally, I don't have an electric vehicle. I don't know how many of you are familiar with EV chargers, but I was like, this is a nugget that I, as an agent, if I was an agent, would really appreciate. For example, all I did was take a photo of the EV charger, and it says likely generation is Gen 2 or Gen 3, approximate age range 1 to 4 years. I never knew that an EV charger only has a potential life range of 1 to 4 years. So again, like you might scrape nuggets from something like this. Might not all be necessary or relative, but you may get a nugget like that you can use sooner or later. That might be super helpful. So again, you could go as in depth with this or as minimal as you want.
See, I would rather be having these conversations on stuff, and even things that you can research ahead of time on houses before even going and seeing the place, rather than being like, sure, let's go check this out and drive around aimlessly. Like to me, all of this stuff is, how can we be that much more effective? How can we get out of the drive around and get right to the point?
That was my other thing I forgot to mention. So make the wider angled shot, and then if it has like a sticker with model number, all that kind of stuff, try to just grab a photo of that. That will obviously help increase your chances of that being accurate. But then you don't have to go read all the little tiny numbers and try to figure all that out yourself.
No, that's good. And so, just curious, because I always struggle with this. This is my question to you guys. Like when I was talking about like this, I find as a value for getting that pre-listing inspection, which I find to be great because then you're setting that apart and saying, okay, well, we found this, we already addressed these things. I don't know, I was curious as to how often any of you guys do that, because I tend to get pushback from clients of like, I don't want to, if I do the inspection, first of all, they're going to pay for an inspection anyway, so why am I the seller doing the inspection in the first place? And also, I don't necessarily want to know what's wrong with my house because now I have to fix it. So I would love to get your guys' opinion on that because I don't get enough people to do it.
I don't get anybody to do it, honestly. I don't really push it, honestly, because I'm at the same point. You know, I walk around like we all do, and I come from like construction, and I did HVAC for decades, and so like I have a good handle on the mechanical things, and I'll be like, hey, this is wrong, we need to address this, or, you know, now, or when you go under contract, or, you know, you might deter some buyers, or, you know, whatever. Like, we have the conversations, but yeah, I don't push the pre-inspection. I don't think it's a great idea either, honestly. So that's just my opinion. No,
because I in certain situations I think it's great, and certain ones I think it's a waste. But that's why
I mean, sure, like, yeah, so I have one I just worked with a client on. He's a builder. They're deciding, I think, to keep the house that's there, but they're originally going to demolish and build all new there. But he's like, I'm going to do a home inspection, lay it all out there for any potential buyer. Like, this is the price, this is what it needs, have fun. Like, you know, so that situation makes sense, but, you know, that's an unusual one, kind of, but.
Yeah. Because I have one just under contract. House there. Beautiful house in Apex. Now, people bought, like they brand new, built the house, and then the wife left the husband. So it's hardly been lived in. So for me, like I was pushing, I'm like this, like there's not gonna be anything wrong with this house because it's hardly been lived in. In a situation like that, like invest a small amount of money because people are looking and saying, oh, this is a 5-6-year-old system, but it's hardly been used.
That makes sense.
There's
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. No, there's no cut and dry.
Yeah,
There's always these
yeah.
weird things that happen that make sense. But yeah. No, that one would make sense. Sure.
Yeah, some stuff like that. Like, so yeah, I'm curious if any of you guys do that, think about it, don't like it, like it.
When I used to work in the Jersey market, the houses were obviously older, so it wasn't uncommon that there'd be houses from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, and it'd be like, yeah, let's get ahead of it. Down here, I've been down here about 8 years. A lot of the homes are, 2010 and above, so it's like, if it's one of those situations where, we have 6+ months, and it's like, I'm looking at the house and I'm like, all right, I may recommend it, but besides that,
Yeah.
not as much. Here for me,
No, because I gotta find the right niche with it.
I mention it to everybody, but it's
Yeah.
just like, do I
Right.
put, it's one of those things, you can't do this, but type of thing.
Cool. All right, let's talk more neighborhood development. I'm also curious, like, how many people come up to you guys, like, friends, whatever, out of the blue, and they're like, oh, I live in such and such a neighborhood, and automatically assume that you know exactly everything.
Every
about
day,
it,
right.
Right?
Yeah. And I just shake my head like, sure.
Don't like that.
Like we all do. I know right where that is.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I figure if they say enough, usually I can get to a point where I know what they're talking about. But,
Yep.
like, yeah, I live in here. Like, they don't even give you a town. They just tell you, like, this neighborhood. You're like,
The community name.
I'm usually like, I think we listed a house near there. Because I'm sure there's one not too far away. So, here we're going to talk about the hyperlocal neighborhood intelligence and your insider knowledge. Kind of easier to speak about what's coming and what's happening in that neighborhood. Here we're looking more information you can find. We got city council notes, planning commission update, local news, development, and like the building area. I joke around and I say that since nobody is from here, and I'm assuming that very few of you in the room are actually from, I said very few
Well,
are actually from North Carolina, that I figure, I've had someone say to me, like, you're allowed to say that you're from here once you can say, I remember when that road didn't go through. Because there's just a lot of development. So again, we're gonna focus on getting a summary of city council notes, planning and zoning updates, things like that, to if somebody who's interested in a very specific neighborhood, or they start talking about a specific neighborhood. Hey, you're asking me about so-and-so here, this, and you can put together a very easy summary of the specific things going on in that particular neighborhood.
And you can see too at the bottom it says, please explain why this matters to buyers, sellers, current homeowners. So again, you populate this for a specific neighborhood, it's gonna give you 3 potential campaigns or hit options that you can then leverage as content for social, or a touch point email to your past clients, or people that live in that neighborhood if you wanna do like a farming situation. Something real quick too, you'll notice on some of these prompt slides, on the bottom right, you'll see optional follow-up prompts. So you'll copy and paste what we give you, you'll get the response, and let's say you want to use one of these additional follow-ups. For example, for this one, you could put in, rewrite this as a buyer-friendly neighborhood overview that I can share during a showing or in a follow-up email. So again, it's just going to kind of give you the little data points that you need. Flip that same concept, but for a seller, explain how this neighborhood intel could impact pricing, timing, or buyer objections. That could probably be pretty helpful in some complicated conversations. And then if you want to just use it for social content, pull 3 short non-salesy talking points that I can turn into a sales post or a social post or client touch point. So just notice that there might be a couple little extra follow-up prompts. If you want to keep digging and get more out of it, you can use those.
Well, and that's awesome, because that's one of the things I wanted to talk about, like how it's great to have this information, what would you do with it?
Right.
Like just to have it. And I'm gonna use the example of, I live in Marsville. So we've had, in the past couple of years, They changed the whole soccer field into a cricket pitch. But now they're bringing in, like, once a year, they do, like, the National Cricket Tournament. Comes in and brings a lot of people into the neighborhood. My road that didn't go through before, when Evans and McCrimmon met, and they built the competition center over there where the Hurricanes train.
Bless you.
Thank you.
All of the new building they did over there, like, all of that affects the home prices, affects the area. Now they're doing, Marshall's doing, they're building a downtown-ish light carry. So I live here. The downtown is right here, that stuff's right here, that stuff's right here. So what do you think it's doing to that neighborhood's value? So me, as not as a real estate agent, but as just a person who lives in that neighborhood, I look at it and go, I don't know if I necessarily want to stay with all this growth, but what do I want to do with this house? Like, do I want to rent it because those values are going to keep going up, or do I want to sell it and get out? So when clients are coming in and they're saying, hey, I'm thinking about this particular city, town, wherever they want to be able to get some of these insights, to be able to tell them about what's going on, first of all, no one else is good at this. Secondly, even if you just took this, even if you didn't use it to, like, post on social media, whatever, you just said, I have a client coming in, I'm interested in Morrisville and Cary in here, and you can say, like, I would say without running all the insight, you have, Cary, you're paying for the development that's been done. Morrisville, you can get in and ride the wave of the development about to come. So when people aren't sure about where they want to be, again, another way you can kind of narrow down where they're thinking.
Did AI create this slideshow for y'all?
I mean, I guess maybe parts of it, but I actually had to put that together. Yeah. I think we got one more. Yeah, one more.
Oh yeah, the visualizing the home part. Again, a great thing with using AI is virtual staging, virtual ideas. So I have a listing, people moved out, they really didn't want to do staging. Beautiful house, it would be so much better if there was furniture in it, but just didn't really fly that way. So instead of having to be able to say, like, just this, we can actually put information in and actually use that as a virtual staging piece of it. So again, going into, like, your follow-ups and things like that. But here, so this is my house. So any of you looking for anybody who wants to buy a house in Cary?
Great rental income.
Got a great one.
Growing.
But this is how it looks now. Like, it's nice, like, they've done some nice things, but not a whole lot. It's more of an imagine what you're gonna put your stuff in. So being able to use AI and get some things of, like, okay, what can it look like? Being able to do some more before and after pictures and things like that to give people more of a visual of what it looks like, get people a little bit more excited about things. So I mean, I think this is pretty cool and way easier. It's just a matter of, like, if you are gonna put these into MLS, just make sure it is mentioned as a virtual staging. But to be able to give people, even if somebody does say, I want to see these 3 houses, and you're looking through and you're seeing pictures and they're all like that, pop it in and, like, oh, based on your style, this is what it could look like, and give them an idea that way.
And we've even talked about different situations because this property is still on the market. You saw from the other photos, it's kind of like a long living room, right? So it's a little bit awkward. And the basement is fully furnished. I mean, it looks flawless, but we had even talked about, so when you plug this prompt in, you can do a bunch of different things. This is just one of the options. But this now potentially gives Rich something he can go back to the seller about. So now maybe we do one last ditch effort and stage the couch very similar to that to fill up that space a little bit so it looks more livable, not just one massive empty room. You could do that. Or if you have a property that, I don't know, maybe there's a lot of furniture in there and you wish it wasn't there, you can actually upload the photo, say please, without changing anything else in the photo, remove all of the furniture. It will be an empty room. Or I would like you to professionally stage this room. And at minimum, even if you don't upload them to MLS, you can print them out as almost like vision boards, right, for inside of the property, because it's so hard. Like, I don't know if I'm wrong, but I feel like so many buyers are expecting perfection.
Oh yeah, right now especially.
Yeah, so if you can even at least give them a glimpse of this is what it could look like if you move your stuff in, you know, I think it can really help a long way. And maybe this might save Rich from having to do a price reduction on this property, because he can go back to the seller and say, hey, let's just try staging the living room and see if that makes, you never know, that could do it.
Well, and great points on that, because, so using these guys for example, initially they didn't want to do the staging. They'd look at the price of staging and they're like, that's a lot of money for, I'm taking furniture out to put somebody else's furniture in. Well, now the house is set for that. Well, okay, we can, now it's, and now the pay me now, pay me later conversation. Well, you can reduce the price $10,000, or we can stage it and kind of refresh it and go back to the people who have seen it and give it a second look. On the other side of that, I have my client, I'm saying up in Wendell, little old lady. Bought her house in 2022, can't do the steps anymore, so the son's like, we need to sell the house, we should move in with us. And he's like, but she has little old lady furniture. And, which not all of it is, it's just, but there's a lot of it. So same thing where we go in, like I'll go and take the pictures, and then come back and be like, okay, if we pull this out, like I'm not, somebody may be better at design than I am. I'm a guy.
Yeah, not my stick.
Right. But to be able to do that and say, well, if we pull this piece out, this piece out, this piece out, keep this and this room's gonna look really great. That is incredibly helpful. Again, something no one else is doing. So when we talk about differentiating ourselves in those opportunities, like we were talking earlier, like a lot of my clients know me already, but the ones that don't know us are like, what are you doing? Like how are you going to sell the house? Somebody else said they're going to do this. Well, any of these tools that you can do, like this is how our process works. It just makes it that much easier.
And this is also a good concept for like awkward spaces. You got like a weird hallway that leads nowhere. Like how do you A, explain it, B, show that this is usable space in some awkward way. It's amazing some of the ideas that you can just get off of AI and it'll be like, this is genius, I would have never thought about it. So at minimum, even if you're not necessarily using these for the public's consumption, like online, there are so many ways that you can leverage this and tweak it for every single property depending on what you got going on.
Yeah, I mean, I love it for the behind the scenes stuff. Like this, like how much better do you sound having a conversation? Yeah, it's great to be able to use it for social media and content posts and things like that. But this stuff, my job is to sell your house. My job isn't to talk about selling your house. Like here are the things we're gonna do. Here's this, and taking information that like maybe I might be able to find on my own, but it may have taken me hours to find, like, where can I find the virtual staging company that can do this? And like, literally, I'm just like, I'm going to upload some pictures, give me some ideas. Because AI has learned enough about me, it also knows like what I'm looking for, that it can get a little bit more nuanced into that and be like, okay, we're going to do like this couch versus doing like something super pillowy. Just kind of giving that idea to it.
Well, it sounds funny too, when we generated that photo, I was like, I would have never thought to put the couch in front of the bookshelf. That just would not have been a design mental thing that I would have thought of, but it actually looks great like that, because it's almost like a backdrop for behind the couch. So, and then your TV goes on that front wall. So again, it just kind of gives that other idea. And I've actually seen, you had a listing that had some pretty hideous wallpaper in it. But you're gonna have sellers that are like, I don't want to rip it out.
That was Rich's house, actually.
I think that was in your old neighborhood, though.
Actually,
yeah, that one. But it's funny because even if you can't convince the seller to make that adjustment, or you're trying to convince them to make that adjustment, go Google what are the top 5 trending paint colors today. Copy and paste that into ChatGPT. Say, here's the room with this hideous wallpaper. Please give me an image using each of these trending colors if we swapped the paint. Like that can easily help push your seller to make that decision because they actually have a visual A of what it's gonna look like, and B, I can almost guarantee silly things like wallpaper and wall color can kill a deal from happening. It shouldn't, but it can, because people just don't wanna deal with it, so.
I will, based on that, I will totally call myself out.
Okay.
So, when I lived in Chicago, I was getting divorced and I was like, I'm just gonna buy a house, I don't know how long I'm gonna be here. So, it was a 3-bedroom, I needed 1 bedroom and an office. So I had a 3rd bedroom that I just never was used for anything, which happened to be the kids' room of the house, the people who owned the house before. So they had all the Peanuts characters on the walls.
Oh my goodness.
And so I'm like, that's the first thing I'm doing is painting over that. I never used the room, like the door was closed. Like, so here it is like 2 years later, and I'm moving here and damn, I better do
The Peanuts are still out there, right?
Like, this probably doesn't look too good, a single guy living by himself with a separate room with Peanuts characters on it, but yeah, so.
Lots to unpack.
I'm nothing if not honest. I almost forgot about the bonus round.
Which we'll send this to you guys in an email too, but.
So we got some AI tools to try. Here's our challenge to you. So we're going to do these huddles. We want to do them twice a month. So 2nd and 4th Wednesday. We are going to talk about different topics you guys would like to talk about. Again, our whole goal here is providing information, getting good conversation going, so we're all learning stuff, we're all getting better. Love to see you all back. What I'd like to see is that one of the things we talked about, give it a try. Try it more than once. So you're not like, I did that, didn't do anything for me. Try it twice. And then go back and tell us what happened. See what worked for you. Here are some of the topics we were thinking about. I'd love to hear from you guys what things you'd like to talk about. January 28th, rates aren't the problem, your messaging is. I'm a big person of I could care less what the rates are. People don't buy because the rates are low. They buy because they have a need, whatever it is. I'm sure just like you are the first person in your circle of friends that knows everything that's going on. Who's getting married, who's getting divorced, who's leaving who's what. Those are the reasons people are leaving. It has nothing to do with the rates. Personally, and we'll talk about this, my weird opinion until I explain it, I prefer higher rates. I feel like the lower rates, you get a lot of competition and you tend to see people overspending, whereas if you have a higher rate, you're buying what you can afford. If the rates go down, you can refinance and you're saving money. So I would rather, so we're going to talk about that. So what do sellers actually care about and what they don't care about. So again, talking about, and this kind of ties into also the February 25th, how do the top agents get picked to do things? I, again, find oftentimes you get a bunch of people saying, I'm going to do this, and this, and then they don't do it. So how are we separating ourselves when we're in those more competitive situations? And then the 12 months after closing that matter the most, staying in front of people, giving them the good information, being the person that they contact. Hey, who's my guy for this? Who's my person for that? So when it comes time to sell that house and move on, they've remembered you. So those are ones we have. We can always change them if you're like, I love that, don't care about that. We can move it another time. If there's something you're like, I would love, like, I've been struggling with this, we need to talk about this. We'd love to hear that, because we'll add it in and have you guys come back and talk about it.
Do you guys feel like a session where we actually show you how to set up your ChatGPT account for your, like, would that be helpful?
1,000,000% for me.
Okay. Okay.
I was gonna ask my husband
Yeah.
to do it.
No, yeah.
I was gonna get on the phone with my daughter and be like, figure this out.
Granted, they probably figured out 20
A million
minutes,
times.
which is the crazy thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you want to do that on the 28th?
Yeah, let's change
And then
that.
we can push everything else down.
Yep, we'll do that. So the 28th, we'll plan to set everything up, just if possible, bring your computer with you. So that way we can literally do it live. You can build it, customize it to yourself, and that's
Are y'all gonna be able to send? So I'm out of town that week or whatever.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah, we
send
can
that
send
even,
that.
and then yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we just send it to your daughter?
Probably right. Or my wife. She's like to handle all that, right?
No, absolutely.
What else would be interesting? What else you guys been thinking about? Like, I'd love to talk about that more.
I guess AI there's so much to talk about when it comes to AI. So is there anything else that you feel like you can't wrap your head around, you want to learn more about? When it comes to marketing, maybe we could do a lot surrounding that.
I mean, you can do a whole thing on social media. You can do. I mean.
Oh, we got you when it comes
Right.
to social. We can do that.
I mean, there's no shortage of topics, obviously.
Yeah.
We just want to make them valuable because there
You're
are
right.
so many masterminds that are happening, and just to be frank, so many of them you don't really learn much. So I
Zero,
hope
usually.
at minimum you learned something today, because this is his
Yeah.
goal really with this, is to make it actually useful. So
And I like the community aspect that we're all like,
Yeah.
getting to know each other. It's
Yeah.
small. We all, working together. We're not competing for anybody's business here.
Yeah.
We all are busy enough or whatever. I like the idea a whole lot more than the usual.
awesome.
See, and you hit on an important point. I want to go deeply onto that. And this is not a pitch for any brokerage. I'm like, my personal experience, I switched brokerages a year ago, and I feel like where I was, they were great, but I felt like there was very much a like, if I win, you lose mindset. I think there's a lot of that in business, and I love the fact that hey, there's plenty of business to go around. I would much rather, if for some reason I wasn't doing the business, I'd much rather be one of you guys, because then I know if we're working together, it's going to be fair, reasonable, it's going to be good. You guys will be prepared. I would rather more of that. Like, I love that mindset of it, of like, hey, the better we can all be, the better it is for the business in general. And this is like, most of you probably saw on social media, like, my thing is like, it pisses me off that people don't take this seriously. Like, it does. That this is the biggest transaction in most people that we talk to. And you see some of these people are like, well, that's just the way it is. And what, like, no, like, this is like, well done right. So I appreciate you guys.
Well, I say, and we all say it, I'm sure, the people that are doing 0 to 1 or 2 transactions a year, how are you able to function and be the one for your clients and take good care of them? You have 0 experience, you don't have, I don't know. It's just, I think the commission needs to up the basis. I don't know what that means, but more schooling, or I don't know, minimum transaction counts, or I don't know, something. In my experience and opinion, needs to change.
Well, a lot of agents have jumped out into business too.
They have, but
because
there's
they
a-
did no business. They had absolutely.
Or the year before, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, it has
last
been
year,
hard.
this 2025, they're saying is probably going to end up being the worst real estate year in all of our lifetimes. I mean, it was horrible. So yeah, the wishy-washers are going to go away, which is great. So, well, that needs to happen more.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Same thing with loan officers.
Yeah.
I'm very glad.
The same thing,
a lot
right.
Of people that they don't know what they're doing, and Rich is totally right. This is the biggest transaction that a client is. We're not buying a hammer or
Right.
shoes. This is something that can give them a projection of a great financial life, or pretty much crush them.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so the fact that people don't take it seriously or think, oh, that's just the way it is. No, it's not. That just really kind of reflects on who you are, not about the client. We have to be very consistent and know our regulations and make sure that we're doing all the right things for the client, because we care. This is our community.
Right.
Do you really want to go to the grocery store and see somebody that, I hate to say, that got screwed over because you weren't professional? I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
I want to be the, oh, hey, how you doing? You did such a great transaction for me. You know what? I got a girlfriend who's got a house to sell. Would you mind if I refer you? That's what you want to happen.
That's what should be happening.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. Not, oh my God, there's that person. Let me walk.
Right. Yeah, if I see one of my clients out and we don't hog, like that to me is like, what did I do wrong?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I 100%. I'm super passionate about that. I know you guys are too, and that means a lot. And I think that's what we're really hoping to do here is to be able to do that. I'm gonna throw out a topic, and I'm gonna be like, since I can trust you all. No, because it's one that I struggle with, and it kind of, whenever I try to bring this up, it becomes how do you handle that with fair housing? You have a lot of different cultures that are moving into the area, all of which go about things in a different way. Now, we are supposed to treat everybody equally, but the different cultures are not treating the process equally. Now, this can be somebody who moved from a different part of the country where real estate is done differently, or it could be a different part of the world where they're just like, hey, this is how we do it. And I would love to be able to get better at understanding that so I can be a better resource. But anytime I have this conversation with anybody, it's like, oh, well, you can't, fair housing, got to treat everybody equally. And it's not about not treating people equally, it's about understanding what we're dealing with.
Give them an experience that's to their liking or to their personality or what they know. You know, that's, I don't know. We see that. I think we should be seeing that all the time. You know, I try to cater to the client within means and reasons. And whenever I first meet anybody, I sit down, grab coffee. Like, I want to know everything about them. Why? All right. Well, you think this way. Why? What's going on? And I try to enlighten them, but also educate them on the way it is here. You know, as much as possible.
Right.
But you're always going to have, I don't know, weird scenarios and things. But you just try to connect with them on their level and get them through the process, I guess, is kind of the easy way to say it. But
well, I mean, I've had people say move here from Florida, and they were like, well, apparently they have a due diligence period, but you don't pay for it.
right.
So why should I have to pay any money for this? Well, that's how we do it here. Or like New Jersey.
Jersey attorney review, yeah.
Yeah. So
Maybe close in three months, maybe, if you're lucky. See,
Yeah.
in New York, right? I mean, right, it's a whole different world, right? So,
Different animal, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I usually sit down, especially new buyers from out of state, like, this is our contract, this is what to expect. I write a timeline right out, like, this is what the normal operating, obviously things negotiable, but, go through the whole process, because, even when I moved down here about my house, I was like, this is insane. I've never heard of this in my life. Like,
Right.
whatever. So I bought houses in New York, like, completely different world.
it shocked me the number of people who would never even explain like how buyer agency worked and like who paid commission. Because when I bought my house, and I worked with a decent agent before I was in real estate, where I was in my head figuring in like what could I afford, but I had to add in that extra percentage for commission
As a buyer, right?
as a buyer,
Right.
not knowing how it worked. And it's like just a matter of how you explain that process and walk it through. What else would you guys like to throw on the list?
I gotta think about it, but I think
Give some thought.
I like the list so far, for me at least, and I appreciate your time and everybody's time. And
Thank you for coming.
I think this was great, really.
We appreciate it. Yeah. If you can try, but like I said, next time we'll come back, we'll get everybody set up.
Yep.
Rock and roll it.
Do any of you said you can't make it to the next one, you just want to recap. Do any of you want us to just automatically sign you up for the next one so you don't have to do it? Save you a few
You can
minutes?
sign me up for all of them coming up, and then
Okay,
send me
wonderful.
calendar reminders.
Okay.
And then if I can't make it, I'll just play like I can't make it. I'll just,
Cool.
that's gonna be way easier for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Rob, I got you. You want to do the same?
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
Look at us solve another world problem. Let's just make it easy.
This is also why I find it very important to surround
That's
myself with people that are way smarter than me.
I'm not that smart. Right. I just go to what's the easiest way. Let's do that.
Right.
So the next one we'll plan to show you how to set up ChatGPT. Maybe at the tail end of that, we'll just do a pretty wide open Q&A. So bring
Yeah.
any of your like, I don't know how to do this, how can I change this, I'm not getting the responses, those kinds of questions. We can just go through all that kind of stuff. And then give me maybe about an hour after this, and you guys should have an email in your inbox with the PDFs. All of the individual prompts are each on individual documents, so I just save them, bookmark them, wherever you want to keep them. If you don't already have a running, like some people have notes, like a note app in their phone or their computer
Or
whatever.
notebooks. Who's this old guy over here?
If you
Oh, wait.
if you don't already have like a digital place you can copy and paste prompts, I feel like the more and more this year is going to continue, the more and more you're going to get fed prompts and start using. So I would just copy and paste the stuff that we and other people give you and just have a massive prompt document or note section that you can work off of as you go through it.
Is it gonna be at 10 o'clock again?
Yes, yep, 10 to 11:30.
Yeah.
Now, how about third-party programs? Like, there's some things that I may generate, but I'll use a program called Undetectable AI.
Yeah.
So even though you can, I guess, prompt it so that it sounds like yourself, the way you talk, you can take some of your emails, put it in there. This is the way I speak, so it generates things that would be, I guess, natural to what Jeff would be sounding like. But also, you know, just within how it's being created, I guess if you want to do
Absolutely.
tracking, was this generated in AI?
Yeah.
It detects it, or it's called humanized, so it changes it so that it sounds like an actual human was creating it. There's a program that I was using, because not just the information that ChatGPT is generating, because we know
Right.
sometimes it generates things that are like, well, that's not accurate. So you want to go for obviously proofread, but then I'll take some of that information and put it into it so that it converts it so that it doesn't
Yeah.
sound like a.
And if you get real confident at doing this kind of stuff too, I mean, honestly, what I would even recommend once you get really comfortable is you can even copy and paste one prompt and then paste it into Gemini or a secondary AI
See what it.
and see what it does. You may get nuggets from Gemini that you can use and nuggets, and for me, knowledge is power. So wherever I'm learning nuggets, that's where I want to learn. So every AI is a little bit different. One of the PDFs that we'll be sending you today has maybe 15 to 20 different AI tools you can test, use in different ways. They all do different things. And I'll make a note too in the upcoming session. There are so many integrations with ChatGPT now. Like if you use Canva, there's an integration. If you build YouTube videos, there's an integration. So I can kind of show you maybe the most useful ones that you could use. Rob's like, oh, God.
So going to that Canva, it's like if you want to create a carousel, and it's like you have to put it at Canva, then you can link it to your Canva. But then it's like, can you generate me four slides in carousel talking about, I don't know, first-time home buyers, for example. But it gives you 4 different ones, and it's funny to look at how all the information it types out on there. It's like, I don't even know what it's typing, but it only gives you like 1 slide that you can actually modify.
Yeah.
So the other 4 don't even, I don't know if you know of a way.
That's a good question. Let me play with it.
Yeah,
I've dealt with the same thing too.
I feel like it's there, but yet it's,
Yeah.
well, we can generate 4 slides that you can modify in Canva. And you're like,
Exactly.
well, no, you gave me 1, but I don't have.
Yeah.
It's just.
With image-based stuff, the PDF I'm gonna send you guys, that has a bunch of it's like AI-specific tools built for images, so you may find better results using an AI-specific tool for that versus one that kind of
Canva
does it
does
all.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe check some of those out and then come back in the next one and I'll have an answer for that.
Yeah.
That's a really good point though.
Because it would make things so much,
Oh yeah.
sitting there, how much time would we waste
Yeah,
trying to create all those templates and those
absolutely.
images. It's just like, and going back to your point, it's maybe useful use of your time, because that's
Because I would never get it done.
right.
Zero, right.
Yeah.
It would go to the side of the desk and then something. Right.
And it was still sitting there,
And then with me, it's like I always want to make it perfect. And they always tell me, done is better than perfect. Just get
It's
the
true.
information out, get it done, instead of, oh, it could be this way or it could be that way. I don't
And-
want to take the time to do all that.
I think there's a lot of, I wouldn't say misunderstanding, but a lot of people, agents, I think in every industry for that matter, a lot of people are concerned like AI is going to take my job. It's going to take a hell of a lot of jobs. However, when it comes to real estate, the ones that aren't using or learning or getting comfortable with AI, the ones that aren't are going to be out of business. Like AI will put you out of business. The ones that implement it and use it and get comfortable with it, you're going to skyrocket over the next 2 years.